looking for in an individual level to step up on Train. We mentioned it yesterday. There's two maps that I always want Tensky to step up on. It is Train and it is Cobble. And tonight we are on Train in the final map of the finals. Already Snappy taking down 2. Sending a message to Imperial as they try to barrel their way into the B site. They will actually get back a double frag of their own. In fact, the frag grenade goes sailing forward. It kind of chips back into the face of Esperanto, but he will lock down Connector for now. He's actually gotten past them and he executes Rubino as he tries to trickle in. Esperanto holding the line with yet another headshot. He's done it again. And now he doubles off. Ace tag trying to get to the bomb site. He doesn't have a kit on him, so he does go looking for it, and he finds it. Esperanto to join his teammate over here in the upper halls. Can EC tag work the clutch? Time is the biggest issue.
Yeah, he pretty much just has to try and stick this defusal and hope that nobody peeks, but Tensky will do just that. Him and SB double down, and Imperial will take themselves the pistol on the T side. The first of many, they hope. But just remember last time, that first pistol, it went the way of this side, and there was a bounce back instantly from Heroic with the pistols.
Yeah, and Train is a map where these pistols have to get up close. I mean, the Deagles might be able to sit backwards, and we do have 3 of them, but if you want to try to control some kind of the A site, you'd think you'd throw them up into either ladder or T-Con. But all of a sudden, Imperial, they're straight out onto the bomb site. They are no strangers to the fire, of which now comes their way. Monty and Nico both chiming in with those upgraded guns, but it is, of course, Imperial that will reign supreme for now. They've got the man advantage, and Tensky looks to hold on the drop.
Peekaboo.
Not a fun game. Not for Snappy, but Rubino instantly deletes the first one, and now he's looking for more.
Yeah, the problem is his position is gone, and the spot that Tensky currently holds make things nigh and impossible for him to win this round. He's going to know that he has to clear that angle, has no idea where the bomb planter has gone, and, well, Nuclear will execute him in the end. The AKs reign supreme, and Heroic will not be able to bounce back in this round. And you highlighted Tensky. I'm actually going to stick with Nuclear. Like I said, we wanted to see the potential of this man going into today. He showed it versus North. He showed it in the last map. I think if he is there alongside SB, alongside Nexa, I think that they're going to be the ones to reign supreme and take this one. I said 2-1. I'll be honest, I got the maps the wrong way around. I'm not perfect. I'm pretty close, though.
You're humble too, Tom.
I'm so humble. Like, I'm so humble.
Here's a little variation of that pistol stack you tend to see nowadays, right? Lots of teams just like to put those USPs on top of Old Bomb. They'll kind of collect themselves on top of the Train so that they're not exposed to any kind of Ivy flank. These guys have them actually committed further into the lane, but it doesn't work. Tom, it doesn't work. Heroic,
neither do I,
have given up another round. So Imperial with the pistol, with the conversions, and now with a heavy task ahead. It is the gun round, and Heroic will bring the first op into the equation. Rubino glass cannon, and already a fast fight. Look at this, they run straight into the site, and it's a trade instantly back thanks to Asilian, but Snappy now locks this down, and the fire at the feet of the T's is enough to drop the bomb. Nexa's on a Mach 10. At a distance, what can he do? Esperanto's been removed, and so Nexa needs to clutch, but this would be astronomical. It seems as though Heroic have won themselves the first gun round.
Yeah, he came into a war zone with what was basically a cork gun, trying to take down players from a distance, and it will be a fairly dominant first buy round coming out for Heroic. Of course, a little bit more of a bonus, but there was some damage done in the previous. Only 2 players actually survived in the round, well, in the second round. So it's definitely not going to be flawless here. And actually, they've got another Mach 10 in play, this time onto Asilian. I imagine they'll switch up the play a little bit this time. Nuclear's going to be there with the AWP, although Rubino, interestingly, will be picking up the one for the CT side. Now, that's the third AWP we've now seen in this series. Of course, we've already had one on Snappy and S-Tag. The question is, will Rubino be able to go back to his old AWPing prowess? As I said, he was a strong secondary AWPer when we saw him sort of in the old Dignitas roster, a man that was, again, very sporadic and could come up with those big numbers if needed. It's not the exact reason he's in this team. Those normally lie to other players. And I have to say, I've been very impressed since S-Tag's actually come back into this roster. I think he almost looked like a new signing, in addition, trying to prove himself. Yeah. Of course, he is trying to prove himself. He's been benched, but the bench player could be about to take himself a trophy.
Smoke grenades again at the feet of Imperial, so they will have to hold a little longer. They do have that bomb still back on spawn. It's not been acquired or retrieved. T's maybe realizing their mistake now because they've actually gotten themselves positioned towards the box halls, and they are going to apply a little pressure towards the Ivy. This, critically enough, keeps Heroic committed to the A site with 3 of their members. The 2 players on the B site are up close and personal, so the MAC-10 could actually take them down. In fact, it wraps around. And Nico will stop it then and there. It's actually a fake. Here they come into A, and they have done a good job of clearing out some of the players, but still 2 reside, one of which beneath. It's EC Tag, now taken down by Nuki from behind. Nexa needs to try to cover the plant. There's only 10 seconds left. The no-scope connects. And even though the health is low, he will find himself the plant. Rubino looks to skewer himself into the site. But the terrorists have now fallen back. Rubino's all alone, and the flashbangs have allowed for him to cross. He's got cover, Tom. He's got cover, but does he have the aim or the chance? Absolutely not. Imperial have reset them.
There he is. UK continuing on, and he's getting some love from the coach as well, rightly so. This shot was sick. And then with low HP, manages to close down Rubino as well. Of course, the cover was crucial from Nexa to give them the chance, but that's the instant bounce back from Imperial. This time is them to start things off again. And this is more like Overpass, remember. The fact was that Heroic never built up a proper economy when on their CT side. They kept struggling again. The peak is going to come out. This time, obviously, a much more weakened purchase from Heroic. A singular Eagle alongside the USPs.
Very up close and personal here. It's almost a bait, though. They think they can overwhelm the op, and then they meet the MAC-10. Vasilian jumping around the corner, spots another player and clears him quite swiftly from the E-box. EC Tag up above, looks to strike dangerously down, but alas, it's not enough.
Yeah, Esperanto will get a little bit of a boost to his stats, not that he really needs it for this tournament. A definite MVP candidate if they do manage to take this over the line. But there's a long, long way to go. They've been strong starters all the way through this tournament. Some teams have not been able to shut them down. That's why we've seen 16-1s, 16-4s in the early stages of the BYOC. They went into that with a high seed at least, but no one expected them to bring this far. It's them versus Heroic, the final map. Push going to be coming in the CT side with limitations again. They're just going for heavy A hits, and at the moment, it's nothing Heroic can do to shut them down. S-Tag, he will find a double that gives them some hope, but the trade is back from Esperanto. It's the S's all over the shop. And he'll be down to Rubino and Snappy, no utility, it's just raw aim. Rubino catches one, but the trade is too fast for him to do anything about it. And now Snappy, IGL, and Orpa is decked by Esperanto.
This is crazy. I mean, Imperial, they're already par for the course of a T-side on train. It's obviously instrumental to their early success that they're able to get that reset. Nexa feeding off the energy of the coach here. Neil's doing a good job of keeping him pumped. But it's pistols yet again. I mean, we're looking at a 7-1 score unless Heroic pulls something fantastic out of the hat. This is incredible. Imperial, they've shown no signs of slowing down. Heroic can't stop them. It's sure enough versus normally some of these pistol rounds, just that fast A hit. Imperial have been using that quite instrumentally early on. However, even with the guns, they seem successful in those moments. I mean, they're clearing them out, sure. One by one, they fall. And Imperial are actually looking at a 6-point lead.
Of course, we've seen them in a similar stance before. 9-1 up they were versus North, and that map eventually hit overtime. So they have been one to throw these leads away. So let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Heroic, one of the invite teams. One of the favorites, I would say, excluding, of course, North, who've already met the wrath of Imperial as they were eliminated in the semi-final. They've definitely not taken an easy route to get here. Finishing off Sprout as well in a very close fashion. I think there was an 8-round streak towards the end to come back from, what was it, 14-7 or 14-8 it would be if that was 8 rounds. Well done, Tom, good maths.
Quick maths.
Here we go, though. CT side, they're back with a bye. Already, Modi will take a little bit of damage. This is always one of the big points of contention on this map, that pop dog control. What would you say your favorite way of taking it is? Just jumping in?
I actually love that double Molotov play, where you put the first Molotov behind him and then the second one forces him into it. You can do that after having already thrown grenades down inwards, right? Modi thinks, of course, that maybe he's a little safer now. He's dodged the frags, but the fire could be.
Or you could do it the other way. Throw one behind him so he can't escape, then throw the double frag.
Tom, you're a genius.
But here they go, and they are going to throw the nades in further. Modi hasn't even seen anyone yet, and he's down to just 16 HP. Push will be coming in, and as he tries to escape, there's a teammate waiting. Smart stuff from Imperial. They've got themselves that man advantage. Now Heroic are looking to try and get back into things here. Snappy in such an aggressive stance, but he's caught by Asilian, and now Rubino's the only one left, and he misses such a crucial shot that will force them off the side. Hits the one onto Asilian though, but Tensky's that, well, lurk in the back, the knife in the back that catches him. Now, well, it looks like Heroic are left to save again.
This is incredible. I mean, Imperial actually come into this round with a much slower pace. They wanted drop-down control, and they did, of course, control it using their utility, the frag grenades, the flames, and then the peek out from T-Con is what seals Modi's grave. As you said, he never even saw anybody until his death. After that, we get Imperial just hitting up the A site. They had that T-Con player push up into the train yard. Tensky's crucial lurk inwards. I mean, they just suffocated the A site. They strangled it into their own hold, and have now actually managed to establish a 7-point lead on the T side of train versus, as you said, one of the heavy favorites in this weekend. This is quite wild. I mean, a little part of me keeps wondering, like, okay, when do they falter? When does it stop?
That was a long wait for a fist bump. I think those are some of the most painful things in the whole of Counter-Strike. Heroic tactical pause. I don't think anybody's going to be surprised by that. We're sat at 8-1. This is the chance for Peacemaker to have a chat with his team. You can see everybody is just listening at this point.
Where is Peacemaker?
That is a good question. Maybe on the right. I think they have a chair like over on the right-hand side. Either that or he's got a lot taller.
Or a lot shorter.
I think he's on the right. A little bit further. Keep going. There he is. There he is. He's got his own little chair.
All right.
It's the same because then you got Neil on the left.
Okay.
So it makes sense. They're back to back. The coach is the one who shouts louder. They'll be able to hear it on the other side. Although I imagine those soundproof headphones do help out, drowning the sounds of Neil and his screams. Although I love the fact that he gets so pumped up for whoever he's coaching. That is one thing I've got to give props to him to, is that no matter who he's coaching, he is the most pumped up man in the room.
Yeah.
Even over the crazy host.
And those crazy casters. CT side with a single man at the B site. Imperial coming in quickly. They've done this before on Overpass. Right after Heroic pause, they just throw this Hail Mary into one of the two bomb sites. They look to envelop Nico, and they are able to trade him right after one. Snappy with a fantastic headshot with the scout, though. That's going to buy a little bit of space now for Rubino to position himself over towards the tankard, but Asilian drops that scout. No! Easy tag burnt to a crisp. And Tensky executes the next. Here we go. It's Imperial again, Tom. They took the pause. They had the buy, but they cannot get it done. It is Imperial over and over.
That one Molotov did so much damage. Like, Modi ran through it. S-Tag runs through it as well. And now Modi's just sat back saving. It's 9-1 to Imperial. They're going on the hunt. I don't blame them. They've won so many rounds in a row that the money is starting to build up behind them. And this is a much scarier prospect than when we saw this sort of scoreline versus North. Because with North, I was looking at it going, that round was close, that round was close, that was a 1v1. Okay, that if they do win, like we even saw it was one round win that it took to North to reset them, and then they bring it back to 10-5. The fact is here, that's not the case. These rounds have not been particularly close. There's not been a point in the round where I've gone, yep, no, you know what, if they win that battle, they win the round. It's just been individual fights, aggression coming out from Imperial, and that's been enough.
And again, a part of you actually always wonders, like, when does that no longer be enough? When is it that it comes to a shutdown? And it hasn't happened yet. We are 11 rounds into the half, and Imperial are fighting now for double digits, and it isn't going to be much of a fight. I mean, it's just Desert Eagles they have to get past, and Heroic does put just one player on B again. With Imperial on the cusp of ramp, Nico's going to have to pull out some insane plays. And he starts with a deagle to Esperanto, spams on Tanuki. Can he find himself a third? A fourth! Nico comes to life! Heroic with a chance off of him, but Tensky will try to reel this back in. That's what they needed, Tom.
That's one of the most ridiculous Deagle plays I think I've ever seen in my life. The fact that he has the balls to peek back out with a bullet left in the chamber and take down a fourth kill, absolutely disgusting. And that is the sort of thing that can get your team pumped up. That can get your team back to life, hearing the crowd roar behind you, and they definitely need it now on the Heroic side. Tensky is going to look to at least do some damage, not allow them to retrieve too much. He's going to sneak back in from behind, spots Modi, does a lot of damage. Molotov will go down to try and finish him off. Actually will hold a couple of players back. Nico's there looking for that trusty ace. S-Tag goes down. There's still a couple of low players here. Maybe this isn't quite as done and dusted as expected. Rubino will be able to retrieve the gun, but Nico will surely go down. Actually tags him very low indeed. But now Tensky can look to fall back a little bit more. Close shot onto Modi, and the bomb will be planted. That's at least a little bit of extra cash that he can have. Rubino is going to go down with the one tap, and now it's all onto Modi. Tensky with the spray, misses the shots, leaves it onto 9 HP, and neither of these players can connect at the moment. Tensky's not going to do it. He almost drags it back. Holy cow, that round was insane, but the Imperial not quite do it, and Heroic will steal it away.
That is just way too close, but this was sick. The first one deleted. The second, he had to work for. Firing off a few shots, he finally seals it. The fact that he anticipates that third peak is gorgeous, and that, oh, Tom. The cherry on top. He doesn't get his ace, and in fact, it's nearly swung back single-handedly by Tensky. But here we go. Heroic have their chance, and they come into this one with a double op setup. Snappy with the peak is just destroyed. He tries to get aggressive, tries to get fancy. It's Nico, the only player who can put up any kind of a defense, and this time he just gets one.
Actually, the bomb's going to go falling back. The aggression of Tensky is caused this T-side to opt to loop back around, and there's nobody there at the moment. Rubino is still going to be looking. Modi spots out one on the other side of the map, but this is a full rotation. However, S-Tag is still going to be lurking here. He's just running around, all the footsteps being heard. He's going to try and sneak up the ladder. Tensky, I don't think he spots him. He may do in a second, though, and that will be the execution, and maybe the end of this round already. The potential bounce back looking clear as Nexa finds another with the AWP. Not normally his weapon of choice, but Rubino misses the shots. We see a 10-2 scoreline, and what was such a heroic round coming in the last from Nico ultimately means nothing.
Nothing at all. And I mean, that's the thing, right? Is we've seen Imperial so many times have substantial leads, or at least a nice bout of momentum going into a half, only to lose control of it, only to allow their opponents to slip back into contention. And this time, Tom, this time that's yet to happen. Best case scenario for Heroic is going to be 5 rounds on the CT side of Train. Imperial have not just done their job, they've gone above and beyond. And they're not done yet. That's the best part. They are not done yet.
The craziest thing about this series so far, okay, first map, that shocked me. The Heroic being so dominant, but I've seen them win Mirage like that before. Then Overpass, ridiculous. Like after the first map, I was like, this is done. There's no way that they come back for that. And then they win their opponent's map pick in ridiculous fashion towards the end as well. Now we go into the quote-unquote middle ground.
Yeah.
And Imperial are looking utterly dominant. It makes no sense at all.
And yet it feels so damn good.
It really does. It really does. Maybe not for the Danish crowd. We'll see if they can rally behind Heroic. They've got a double AWP set up. A few pistols to boot. Neither of the AWPers have armor behind them. Peek in though, and Esperanto's down already. Nexa just going to be running forward, meets S-Tag and wins the battle as well. So still, so far, only a trade.
A lot of damage, though. That's the biggest issue. Madi patient on the angle, and despite being blind, he topples yet another to keep this one even as can be. The Deeg of Nico still in play. Don't sleep on it. Smoking a Molotov towards the bomb site, so Imperial are looking to work their way forward off of utility. The problem being they don't have much health to play with. And Snappy's going to double back to the far corner of the Ivy side. Nexa on such low health has to remain patient. If he goes down, then it's a man advantage, and Asilian's actually the first to get dropped. Nexa clears his magazine, finding another kill. He's got 3 in the round already. He's done everything thus far. But Tensky's got the op to try to counter this double sniper setup being thrown out from Heroic. They are just allocating themselves to the back lanes, and Tensky bros out the brains of Snappy. Now, Madi in the same position.
Wins the opening battle as well. 3rd kill for him. It's the Danes facing off. Tensky switched back to the AK, and Modi may have eyes on the bomb, but he manages to escape and realistically could just back over towards the B side. Instead, he just goes for a fake plant, tries to bait him in a little bit, and actually, because the no plant has gone down, Modi's actually going to expect exactly what I expect. He's like, okay, he's probably gone back towards the B side here, and this is going to buy so much time. The peek from Modi now will come back in towards the connector. He can't hear the bomb. He's read it perfectly. Gets himself a 4th with that AWP. The force buy working out just about. And it's Modi who brings them home around. Now that's 2 4Ks to win them 2 of the 3 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, they're needing a next level of individual play here. Incredible plays from Heroic in order to win the most minimal of rounds. I mean, again, 5, the best case scenario for them. Their purchase is going to be desperate, deflated. Economy in shambles. Imperial have enough steam left in the tank to at least get to the finish line here in the over-under of the first half. But I don't want to sleep on Heroic. I can't help but feel like if they get 5 rounds, we can easily watch Imperial let things slip. They've done it. They've done it before. They haven't had convincing closes to these maps since the semifinals. There's no reason to believe that Imperial can keep up this kind of play. There's no reason to believe they should even be here in the first place, and yet they are. But Snappy, he's looking for the first kill. It's a duel of the operas, and he just blasts Nuki's brains all over the back wall. First man down for the count. Utility comes forward, including fire in response here. Heroic will rotate heavily. This is enabled because Madi is inside that ladder room. He's in a poised position to go for that fast flank. Heroic can confidently stand with 3 players on the B site. All they need is kills. They will fight desperately for 5 rounds.
We have seen Imperial let these sort of rounds slip before, and Nico up close again is looking to shut things down. Heroic finally looking like they've got some dominance on their CT side. Esperanto tries something sporadic and instead is met with death. It's a similar scenario again to when we saw them take an early lead versus North. Remember that map hit OT, and it was a 10-5 first half.
Yep. That's the thing, regardless of which side they're on. Imperial's strong starts have been affected by their slower finishes. This time, however, I think it's extended as long as could be. This is one of the strongest and most momentous opening bouts that they have actually managed. But Rubino is already down. That's the first opera to hit the dirt. Heroic at a disadvantage, and now this setup will be skewered. They've lost control of Ivy, but EC Tag will trade out 1 as Madi goes down as well. He is still amongst the train yard, and Nuki gets his back. The spinal tap is fantastic, and Nexa creeps inwards. It's just down to Snappy. He reveals himself taking 2. The 3rd one could be there, but no. It is Imperial with an 11th round to close out that first half. Not just a great, but a fantastic T-side.
And it's very, very similar to what we saw in Overpass. It's not one player.
Exactly.
Every single man, I think that bottom fragger may have 9 kills, and I think the top has something like 14. It really is every single member of this Imperial lineup being deserving of their lead at the moment. And on the other side of things, it's only been a few, well, star performances, a few rounds where you can say, okay, Modi did something incredible here. Nico with his Deagle 4K, which was absolutely huge for them to have anything going into this second half, because you remove those 2 individual plays, they get 2 rounds.
Yep, absolutely. That's nothing. I mean, that's not even enough to try and work with. This guarantees them at least 1 gun round to try and make the nigh impossible happen. But once more, I won't sleep on Heroic. I will never count them out. Partly because I can't help but doubt Imperial's ability to just constantly close out games, at least not in convincing fashion. In the pistol, they go for that fast Ivy fight, and it costs them 2 lives. Snappy creeping his way into the A site as well. That's a lot of map control. And you can see Imperial starting to reel their way through CT spawn. They want to try and stop that bomb, but they can't.
A nice shot from Rubino as well. It's going to leave UK and Nexa, the only 2 to try and fight this back. And Rubino's going ham in this pistol round. Doesn't even have any armor. UK, all that is remaining, will be able to take 1, but S-Tag very quickly able to trade. They've got that lifeline as a minimum. Force Spy expected to come in the next one, maybe with Nuclear saving a little bit of money to make sure that he can have the AWP ASAP. But the fact is, the likelihood is, this will be going down to only a 4-round difference, and that's definitely workable. Actually, quite a lot of money saved. Now, this is not something I expected to see from Imperial. They're being very reserved in this round. They're going to go for Deagles, which I don't think is too much of a detriment to any of the players. Only Esperanto going to buy any Kevlar, and even he's only gone for a P250. So they're sticking in with extra money to make sure that their buys are strong. But they've still got the chance to do damage with what they've got.
There's 2 kills for Heroic as they start to clean up the pistols. Sure enough, Esperanto has something to say, but it's not much, Tom. Man of few words. At least here in the 17th. Tensky. Love a parting gift, a message, so to speak. Channeling his inner Nico. But it looks like Heroic are off to at least a clean start here.
There shouldn't be any real chance at this range. Esperanto looking like he may want to try and do something. Actually, some spam going through. Of course, S-Tag very low, has to be careful. But it will ultimately be the T side, saving everything they've got. 4 players surviving, and not much for the CTs to go back in within the next round.
It'll have to be a gradual climb for Heroic. They cannot afford to get ahead of themselves. They'll have to stay cool, calm and collected, level-headed. Of course, they do get another easy round, so to say. They will have those double Mac 10s looking to farm up extra cash. If they can, in fact, put more money in the bank, then that's always such a crucial piece to making these huge comebacks happen. You want those deep coffers, the big bank. So far, that's what they've got. Taking 2 players off of the A site already. Snappy looks to linger longer. Nexa emerges from the corner, and even he can't get one. So close as Rubino sits on 3 HP, and Snappy taps the Mac 10, but it's Nico with the final frag, and that lead, Tom, is being cut down. Now only 4 rounds ahead, but it is the gun rounds that Heroic will face.
This is where all that extra money gets spent by Imperial. They saved for this buy. They've got the AWP onto Nuke and incendiaries on multiple players as well. Still don't have a kit. They have actually gone for head armor on a couple of players. Maybe are expecting a Mac 10 or 2 to survive into this round, but the T's are taking no chances. Nuke going very aggressive here. Nico is just waiting on the other side in case they opt to push any further. 3 men over towards Ivy with Tensky waiting on the other side. And he actually opts to fall back a little bit here and see if this is part of the setup. He may just go further back towards the other side, push towards that train. Fact is, though, the T's are going to make their way forward. Ivy control. is theirs. Up above will be Tensky, waiting for this push. Flashbang's trying to leave him blind. UK catches one. Tensky with the spray nets another. No trade available as Tensky shuts them down. And now Modi and Snappy trying to bring this back.
This is a dead stop. Heroic, they've got nothing in the round. I mean, Tensky just obliterates any kind of an Ivy push, and that was what they wanted. That is what they needed to get into the A site. The corpses have already started to stack, and Snappy not that much further away with Esperanto breathing down his back. There we go. It's Imperial with 5 players alive. A flawless first gun round on the CT side. They look to bounce back as quick as can be.
Yeah, this is where it really will get tough, and there wasn't much of a bonus round scenario for the T side, so they'll get themselves at least one. But after that, it might get a bit dicey. If they get a bomb plant, they're fine, but the fact is, they're not looking for a bomb plant as an only thing in this round. They need to bounce back fast.
And the double op setup is something that can really be utilized to maintain control on that CT side. If these ops can really connect their shots like that, then it is going to be Heroic playing off of a back foot more often than not. Nexa alone at B will now receive reinforcements because they picked up that opening kill. And Imperial spot nothing else today. You can see even Nuki floating towards connector. The smoke grenade hits the deck on upper. Esperanto will try to move onto the spindles, and he sees the player emerging through the smoke. It's Nexa deleted as Modi just comes barreling into the bomb site. Esperanto's got the cover, Nuki's got the first kill, but the bomb goes down regardless. And Esperanto now, he's coming in, finding EC tag first. Modi with a forward position inside of connector. He needs to be cleared, but Rubino as well is sitting back patiently. Esperanto waits, and he's punished for the push. Modi now trying to win his duel versus Tensky. There's 2 separate 1v1s unfolding. Which team will win them both? It is Modi desperately trying to hold this off. Rubino from above executes the first, and now he's just gonna hide. Heroic have the time. Tensky does not have this round. He's given it up, and Heroic are here to stay. They will fight a little longer.
Yeah, Rubino even manages to retrieve that AWP towards the end of the round, and well, the one saving grace is the fact that the previous was flawless for the CT side. They will have enough money to invest back into this one. The question is, though, is like, how does Modi get into that position in the first place? His aggression from above, like, I don't know how he manages to sneak his way through, but that position is what is enough. And actually, this buy definitely isn't as good as I thought it would be. It's 2 SMGs make the cut. Maybe expecting a little bit more aggression out in this round. In fact, Nexa kind of has to, as he's playing alone over towards the B site. We'll be playing up close. 4 rounds the difference here. Of course, we saw a lot of backwards and forwards rounds in the previous map, and it was Imperial to come out on top. Nuki at least will have his AWP kept. And Tensky saving an AK. But other than that, it's definitely a weaker buy.
Luckily for EC tag, there's nobody actually in the drop down because he was blinded on the entry. I like this wall that Imperial are trying to erect halfway up through the A site. You see that line of defense being thrown over towards the E box. It leaves them in the open, but it's crucial that they keep control of Ivy in the meantime, and Tensky has had that since the get-go. Nuki's now going to be tasked with keeping his eyes on it, but there's nobody there. In fact, Heroic have doubled back towards their spawn, and with all that utility, Tom, I anticipate an execution moving forward. With 50 seconds left, they'll have a little bit of time to work with if they need to double back, but that's great. The MP9 gets in their face, and it's an instant trade back and forth. Now Tensky to the top side. He's looking for his impact, and he finds the head of Nico first. He actually doubles down, and here's Imperial back yet again. The reset lingers above the heads of Heroic. And Modi, as the smoke fades, is being pinned in. Luckily for him, he finds a bit of an exit, but it costs him health.
Yeah, and also there's just nothing he can do here. 20 seconds left on the clock. The bomb all the way over towards that sandwich spot. It's just not happening for Heroic in this round. And as said, this is where the money looks to bite them once again. They'll get 1,400 into the next. The AK save will mean that they'll have potentially 3, I think maybe even only 2. And that is just not really enough here. Yeah, it's going to be a very weak buy indeed if they do opt to go for it. And if they do, then that's a chance for Imperial to actually take maybe 14 and even 15.
Another tactical pause from Heroic. I'm sure Peacemaker wants to get his input in.
Well, what do you do here? I think that's what the conversation has to be. because you got S-Tech with 3,500, so he can realistically drop an AK. Can't do too much else. Could buy one without head armor, I suppose. I feel like maybe him having a Deagle and dropping it over to somebody else could be the better play.
It's wild, but you know, Heroic strikes me as such a good team. I mean, they have individual skill, and we've seen it, right? I would have argued most commonly with Yugi. But every time we kind of seen this, you know, shimmering from them, this acquiring of grand final opportunities, they do fall short. They lose important games.
Well, yeah, the other thing as well is when it comes to a lot of the, like, integral rounds, it's somehow just, that's where Imperial just get a little bit of life. Like you see the aggression from Massilian there with the MP9, then the aggression coming out from Esperanto to get towards that sort of, that pop dog position, and you have Tensky above. It just seems like they get the correct read on their opponents and just manage to steal away rounds at the most integral parts of the game. It didn't happen so much on Mirage because nobody really stepped up, but the second they came alive in the game, things got very scary. And you look now, Tensky, you mentioned him, he's 18-8. In this matchup. Nuke is up there as well. Esperanto's not the one leading the charge, but the fact is, he doesn't necessarily need to be.
Very, very aggressive stance over towards that B site. Look at Imperial's positioning. With one player to the top of the box halls, A site is open for the taking, but what a spray down! What a hold! 3 frags instantly for Imperial. They are gunning for a 14th, no doubt. The bomb's on the dirt, and so is Rubino. He's instantly executed on the exit, and Massilian makes the perfect round. Imperial smell the win, Tom, and they slow down for no one.
This is that round again, though. 14-8. They're firmly in the lead. This is where things sometimes start to crumble for this team. In fact, I would actually quite like to see them call a tactical pause here.
Yeah.
Take a moment, take a breath. They're not going to. They're up against Glocks. It's understandable. This is a straight up save from Heroic. This is a chance just to build up that confidence even more, leading them to what could potentially be the tournament victory, the trophy in their hands. It is within their grasp at the moment. And who's anyone to say they don't deserve it? They've gone through the toughest teams in this tournament, that's for sure. Spray down, a little bit of damage done, but Nexus there to shut things out. Nuke will be there to close, and now it is needed. One round is all that Imperial need to make that comeback happen. They lost their choice of Mirage. They brought it back on Overpass when nobody expected it. Now they sit on Train with 7 tournament points.
And a double op set up right away. Heroic piecing together this purchase. It was the T side of Imperial that really made magic happen. Now the counter-terrorists setting up an aggressive stance, the exact same setup we saw in the previous round.
We are going to have Rubino just lurking back. CT side, they're going to fall back from their early aggressive positions. Fall back into what looks like maybe a heavier A hold. It is going to be Heroic just looking to set up those smokes once again. Looking like the A site is going to be their point of contention. Still, that double AWP setup does remain with Esperanto watching over towards that IV spot. His teammate will be sat over towards B. The fact is, there's not much information, but now this is where Heroic get their running shoes on. They're going to go pushing in towards the site. Molotov will be there to try and deny them. S-Tag's going to go straight through it, and Esperanto's just off the back. The wall of smoke helps them out, but actually Tensky's going to find the pick anyway, and there's a boost over the top. Nexus found one, a second, a third, and it's left all onto Nico. He's here to try and save this for his team, but it's just not to be. Imperial have taken themselves the victory. The grand final is theirs, the trophy in their hands, and there is nobody who can say they don't deserve it.
They toppled both of the